Hello and welcome back. Today we are continuing our Rome run. Last episode was our starting steps where we did a few things to try and massage our way into being able to go to Rome as quickly as possible, bypassing monarchy, but then we got the white collar Rome, and we're just kind of not about that life, or I was thinking we might not be about that life. We did a little bit of a Polski, and you guys were not about that life either. It turns out what you guys want is red Rome, and so what we will be doing is red Rome. We will be going to try to pass a different government type in order to flip red. Better red than white, as they say. And so we're going to try and go for presidential republic, but as you can see, not that much support. Now, presidential republic is, generally speaking, not going to be the best of the republics. Parliamentary, I think, is a lot better, but presidential republic seems more in line with kind of what was set up with, like, Caesar and this type of thing, and so we're going to be going in that direction, kind of in terms of what's going on. We also did get some expansion down, in a pretty good rate, having this Roman market up here, securing good sections of North Africa, which was pretty nice. I think we maybe might have missed a little bit not declaring on the Ottomans. Maybe we could even declare on the Ottomans now, but we also got a little bit of Greek land and a sneaky little claiming of Crete here as well. So we're kind of on our way towards getting some sort of Mare Nostrum action that is trying to control all the Mediterranean coast if we can, excluding the Black Sea, I think, which I think that's we're thinking more like Roman Mediterranean. Doing full borders of Rome is going to be a little bit difficult with the semi-RP run, where we're not doing stuff like going for South Africa right away, and instead looking to organically expand our declared interests in areas that were traditionally controlled by the Roman Empire / Republic. We're going Republic. So I think that transfer subject on Ottomans, on specifically Tunis, will be good for two reasons. One, it's Carthage, a historic enemy of Rome, so let's raise it to the ground. But secondly, they're currently involved in, a big not fun activity, and I think that we will be able to do this despite them having a way bigger army. And what we are going to be able to do is we can brick their ability to land us endlessly with just one boat, by kind of abusing game mechanics. So we don't have to worry about being landed if we want to really min-max push it. And of course, Rome did that historically against Carthage. Hannibal, he crossed over the Alps. As he did, he said, "I will find a way or make one." He crossed over the Alps with elephants, which everyone thought was impossible, and he rampaged through Rome for a decade. And then Rome just didn't surrender after, wood-trippering like 50% of its adult male population into the Carthaginian army. They didn't surrender. And so I think that's cheese. But in any rate, we will be able to prevent them from landing because, Carthage can land. We will be getting Tunis to ourselves, and then also, it's going to be very likely that people are going to be willing to join us, here. Now, to be fair, if they put in on Attica, we will be big sad if this was their primary war goal, because then that is going to be a bit difficult. But I think we would probably be able to defend, and we see here, there's 3 sways that are going to be easy for us to get, and so we probably look to get one of these sways, and then maybe we also do have to worry about that a little bit. This is actually a little bit spooky. But we are going to look to get a sway in here as well. They're just going for war reparations, which is fine for us. And so we're going to be going after Tunis, and while their army is occupied, we're hoping. Now, let's see who was willing to sway. Russia with war goals. What war goals? Humiliation. Okay. France with war goals. Humiliation. Okay. Tough time to be them. And then Egypt with open market, which is this. They're all 20 maneuvers, and so let's go for France, who's going to be the strongest one. Just for the record, becoming a Russian subject is actually would be good if we were trying to min-max. This would be a reasonable thing, because they would help us a lot for the expansion as long as we were in their subject or in their customs union. However, we are trying to be a strong independent Russia we're trying to be a strong independent Rome, who don't need no mummy Russia, and so we're going to be trying to do it without them. And so I think we're going to look to get France in on this. We're going to sway with humiliation, and this is going to make the Ottomans very likely to back down, which means we do not want to put any war goals in that are going to be more infamy. So transferring Tripolitania would be a reasonable one, but we'll be satisfied with just the transfer of Tunis, this is going to be enough for us. Also, we almost certainly can do this war on our own, or could have, just defending this front, defending the capital, and then using a landing to get on Tunis. And so this is what we're going to be going for, and we're going to flatten some Carthage here. Easy peasy, they backed down. We did put in release Bulgaria as well. That would have been a nice one to have, but us just kind of getting Tunis for nothing and then being able to reduce autonomy almost immediately, which we might not do. We do have not too much infamy, so maybe we'll end up reducing autonomy there, but this is all kind of gravy for us, and it's going to be super nice. So is colonial exploitation coming in. We're going to be able to colonize all of North Africa here, and I think what we're going to do is we're also going to take a look at what things we can try and pass with them, them being the Moroccans. It looks like we can't force them to pass anything, but we're going to be trying to keep an eye on this because we do want to pass colonial affairs, because Morocco does have a claim. They do have a claim on, I think, this region here. Only they can colonize it, and so if we can force them to pass colonization law, they will colonize that up, and we would want to do that before we eventually integrate them, so we can have some nice, clean borders. Well, look who's back. The Nihilists are back. An anti-clerical and anti-monarchist movement known as nihilism has taken hold amongst the Intelligentsia. This guy, this boyo, these dangerous thinkers, we're going to say perhaps they have a point. This is going to help out for us getting off of, monarchy. And also, it lends into kind of our original start. We're gonna go with the Nihilists, man. We love to see them. I think that we're just going to do the one that gives the most popularity, and so we're going to say perhaps they have a point. And of course, as you may be able to notice, we do have a civil war. It should be fairly easy with all of our subjects. We were trying to avoid this though, not the bee's knees, but we're just going to keep doing naval landings on kind of both sides, and we should get a full occupation, kind of independent of how these battles go. Looks like that first battle's not going to go so well, but they actually have a fairly big navy, so it's going to take us a while to actually get through their navy, if we can indeed do that. Looks like we're actually losing to their navy, so this one might be a little bit more concerning. We do have, some conscription kind of coming on up with these. I think we are going to need to, we might need to use an edict. This is actually a little bit more hairy than I thought it was going to be. The problem is that our boys, that is our subjects, will push in and kind of eliminate our progress here. And I was really thinking we were going to be winning the naval battle, but even with more boats, we are losing the naval battles, which is certainly not ideal. We have an advantage on the front. Okay, when it looks like when we're actually the ones pushing, we can gain some progress. So this is actually going to be a pretty uncomfortable civil war, but we do get colonial exploitation kind of right off there, and we're going to be able to start colonizing immediately down into the south, which is going to give us a nice kind of clean North Africa looking border, hopefully in the future here. We will, of course, see what we can do to pass tenant farmers. Bro, we just got off of that. But yeah, as far as laws go, we will have to take a look. We do want to go on to a republic kind of soon-ish. We could go back to theocracy if we wanted. But what we're going to need to look for is some sort of industrialist who is going to support that sort of thing. We could reform to have the Intelligentsia in, but I think we're not really passing too much without the industrialists on our side, and this guy actually is kind of annoying now that we think about it, because he blocks our one agitator slot. We will get another once we get up to major power, which is maybe in the near future, but for now, it will be a little obnoxious. A Greek, separatist movement has also been kind of a significant speed bump here. I think we are at 0 infamy, and we don't like to do that, but this is kind of going to be the super swimming in while we're, cleaning up the mess of that revolution and this. But, relatively short order, we're kind of going to get back in business here, and, our bureaucracy is back to nice, and we can start rebuilding the construction sectors. Very significantly, we did get access to railways, and so places that have been, having too much infrastructure expenditure, losing access to the market, we are going to be able to correct that, and so, should have a pretty strong recovery here in terms of our GDP. So part of our overall plan has been to diplomatically integrate both Two Sicilies and Sardinia-Piedmont. These are the only remaining Italian powers, and part of this is going to involve us bringing Two Sicilies into our customs union. We wouldn't really hate to have an alliance or a defensive pact with these guys, and so what I think we're going to do here is we're going to invite them to the customs union using an obligation. We could ask to join their customs union, or they had invited us earlier, except the game doesn't allow you to do this, but let's invite them to our customs union, owing them an obligation taxation, and they will join our customs union. And so this brings us one step closer once we research nationalism, which we'll do after egalitarianism. We do want to get onto proportional taxation, but then we'll go for nationalism there. And so the remaining thing to do is we need to sway Sardinia Piedmont into our market. Unfortunately, they're in Austria's market and they have an adjacency, so this is going to be a little bit difficult. We've been trying to maintain good relations, but this is going to be a challenge for us. But eventually we will get an event that will let us annex 2 Sicilies for 10 infamy, and so we would absolutely love that. Morocco also just backed down when we asked to reduce autonomy. It's not necessarily a tremendous amount, but if we look at the migration attraction heat map, Sicily, 2 Sicilies does not look very hot, and so we will be siphoning off migrants from them, especially in Lazio, where we are determined to make Rome the crown jewel of our empire. Despite it not really having a good mappy or a specific reason for doing this, we are encouraging a lot of edicts here, one of which being greener grass campaigns, which is going to allow us to, attract these people from 2 Sicilies over to us, which is going to help out. And also, if their pop is trending down, normally under normal circumstances, when you invite someone to your customs union and their pop trends down, this is a good thing for you, because this means you can integrate them a little bit cheaper, just very slightly cheaper later on, but you probably don't try and high prioritize them if their pop is going down. However, since we're going to get them for 10 infamy eventually anyways, we won't really concern ourselves with this too much, but this is going to be a nice effect. Yeah, I wish there was a better way to get them. Ooh, wait a sec. They're now genial instead of cautious. What do they want to change us? It looks like perhaps if we get to the rank of major power, maybe they would be willing to join for an obligation, which is all we really need. And Sardinia Piedmont is going to be the one that we really care about, because this is where the good mappy states are. Both, here and also the island of Sardinia have really good mappy. Sardinia having the outstanding everything, the full rainbow. And so it's going to be really nice once we get a hold of these guys. Sardinia offers a defensive pact we're going to accept just to try and maintain a positive attitude in the long term, which is going to help us out. We're in a little bit of a point where we have 0 infamy. We kind of hate this, where we can't really expand anywhere. There's no, especially... Ooh, actually, there's a good target. Just kidding. But we're just kind of keeping our eyes out. Egypt is just, out of reach of what we can do. Even outmaneuvering them and this sort of stuff, they have, twice as many boats and, twice as many guys, and so they're just a little bit out of reach. But, Greece we can go for. So I think we'll be going after Greece. But the thing I wanted to point out is we're actually going no health system. The reason being is that the devout will support public health insurance, but only if you have no health system. So we're going to be going from no health system to public health insurance before we really start attacking, the clout of the devout with our nihilist boyos that we are trying to get kind of up and rolling. We also have been fiddling with the tax system, trying to make sure that if we can just barely be over 90 or over the next breakpoint, we will go for that. But since we can't right now, we won't. And now we have a bit of an awkward situation. We wanted our next company to be Kupus. The reason being is this company is very, very, very strong, but it requires a level 10 tooling workshop in Attica, which I don't think we're going to get for some time here. And so I think we're just going to slot in the wood company for now, because we have a ton of wood, and we can export the wood, and we're expecting our exports to go up on the wood as this price, as the throughput takes effect, this price should take a pretty substantial dip, and there's the dip. And so what will happen now is that our export routes should go up, and we will just be kind of keeping an eye on for places that we can try and export more, especially with an adjacency, in order to increase the profitability of all these industries. And to be fair, since we've been in control of everything, these actually also represent an enormous percentage of our overall, economy. With 40 wood chops, that's going to be 8,000 construction worth of wood chops. We have a similar amount of construction worth of iron mines, but this is largely going to be what our economy looks like. So a lot of our economy is under corporation, which is kind of something you can force harder than normal. I still don't think it's necessarily as optimal. The private queue will tend to actually fill in the gaps pretty well, and so we might be missing out on some points of efficiency, but it certainly looks nicer that when we have a fully controlled queue, that we can kind of have a higher percentage of our economy underneath the various bonuses, both throughput and construction for our companies here. So this one makes me nervous because I think it's fairly likely France sides against us, but we just have to be trying to make progress. We did protectorate Greek. We normally protectorated Greek because Greece has a claim on Thessaly. We are expecting that later when we fight the Ottomans, we will be able to sway Greece as long as their dominion are lower, or actually they might have to be a protectorate or lower now, into our war for return state, and so in that way we can kind of get that for free. As we probably, Balkanize the Ottoman Empire to make it more digestible for ourselves. But it looks like maybe we get away with this here. Constantine's actually going to be a huge pickup for us. This is a very, very nice state. They do have some construction malice, but on the other hand, they do have a throughput bonus on iron. They are one of the few places in the game that has a throughput bonus on iron, and so this is going to be pretty nice. There's over here in Brazil they have a throughput bonus, and in Permural they have a throughput bonus, and I think there's also a throughput bonus in Navarra, which is quite strong, and I think those are the only 4. And so this is going to be pretty good. It's also going to give us ingress into Tuat for the colonization, which is also going to help out and give us kind of something more to do, but we are starting to really incorporate these guys. Deficit of what? All right. But this is going to be good for us, and we get this pretty nicely. Ideally, we would want to wait until France is involved in a play before doing this, before doing annexations in North Africa specifically. But since we are kind of so strapped for, useful expansion spots, and it's like pretty rough for us, we are going to be a little bit more aggressive than we otherwise normally would be. So the Ottoman Empire spit out Tripolitania here, and we have actually an interesting choice, and for the sake of efficiency, we're going to just protectorate Tripolitania. But what we could do is we could just conquer Libya, which would give us the ability to fight Egypt fairly well because we would have a front with them. However, we are hoping that this subjugation will be a little bit more efficient, and we have been building up the navy much more than is normal, and you can see current prestige 166. What we need to become a major power is 167, and going after Portugal is what we really, really want to do. Except it's going to be difficult because Britain's almost certainly going to side with them, and so we might have to do some very cheeky cheese to win against Great Britain in a fight. But for now, and Portugal being so essential because we have our constraint that we have to radiate outwards and only declare interests where in lands that were owned by Romans at the very start, which the Navy is helping us gain more interests as well. But if we subjugate Portugal, we will get an interest down here in South Africa. And so we will be able to go for, kind of the normal nut, as it were, of going after Transvaal and Orania, which I think, the Romans would have been all about if they knew that there was gold there and it was easy for them to access. But we will probably not be able to declare we're not going to declare any interests. We will get native interests in these 3 states. Or these 3 regions, but we will not be able to mess with Senegal or Niger, at least until we finish declaring interest in all the areas where Rome had control. And so this is kind of how we're expanding, and this is why getting to the next power rank is going to be useful. Also, you get less infamy if you're a bigger power, and so this is going to be nice as well. And so I think that's the case. I think it's less infamy. You accrue more infamy as you get to the next power rank. That's the right one. But that will be pretty good. So we're going to go after Tripolitania here, and we're just going to protectorate with the idea that we are hoping to be able to go after Portugal soon, and we are hoping to be able to go after Egypt soon, and so this will save us on the infamy a little bit, and we will get all of Tripolitania instead of being able to only declare one thing, because generally speaking, you want your primary war goal to be your infamy war goal, and so if we went for Libya, we probably wouldn't protectorate them at the same time, and so we would just have to go for Libya and then wait 5 years and then protectorate them afterwards, and I think that overall this is probably a little bit cleaner, but let's get it in here. So Austria just started an import for iron from us, and I just wanted to point out some of our trade route sizes. We are exporting a whole ton of hardwood. We are importing a whole ton of coal. We don't have any coal that we can make ourselves, and we are also exporting a ton of iron. And so this is largely because we have this perfectly controlled queue that allows us to kind of do anything. And you can see that this will be a lot more productive, and it'll be ease the strain on the convoys that are required to run the route to France. So we're just going to put that in and export to them. Visually, it's not going to say that it's exporting, but okay. But we are going to send in a route which is going to make all of our buildings a lot more profitable, and so this is going to help us out. We can see the route is in there now, and it is currently pretty profitable. Notice that this makes the France one not as profitable, but this will just decrease the size, which will decrease the convoy usage, and so overall this is going to be pretty good. Also, the greater volume of trade with Austria and France is going to be good for us because it makes it less likely that they kind of interfere with what we're doing. Finally, we have become a major power, and so we are going to wait for our infamy to decay pretty close to 0 before going after Portugal here, because protectorating Portugal will be 33 infamy, which is quite a big ticket, but that'll be really good for us. Also, there's like a lot of Portuguese pops, which can, migrate to our areas as well, whereas like these North African ones will not migrate after we subjugate them, but stuff like Greece and Portugal will migrate to us because we are on, if I recall correctly, we're on racial segregation. We do have a little bit of a Revsky brewing from the armed or from the civic nobility because we are trying to pass getting onto proportional taxation, which is a little bit rough. We might even want to reduce taxes here. We would if we were at 45, because getting over 50 is really, really important for law pass speed, but proportional taxation is going to be really nice for us, and so we do want to be getting onto that. Looks like the Austria situation might be causing problems for Sardinia-Piedmont, because they're now willing to join our customs union. Either this, or it was us becoming a major power. Probably the latter, but we will get them into our customs union. And so now we have a nice Roman market here, which is going to be absolutely fantastic for us once we finish nationalism, which we're kind of coming up on now, because then we can get the event which will allow us to, annex most of Italy. So we're kind of, we're doing well on kind of getting things going. And actually, in terms of historical, expansion of Rome, this is not too far off of, kind of the normal thing of what they were doing. They secured most of Italy, and then they also secured North Africa against their kind of last major enemy that could really stand in their path before they kind of internally collapsed, which was Carthage. And so, yeah, it's looking pretty good here. So, decided to make a little bit of a detour going after the Ottomans instead, just for the purposes of taking Lebanon, so we have an adjacency to Egypt, because I figured going after all of North Africa would maybe be a little bit more on theme than going after Portugal, because I think that this is just a little bit more themey, and so we will be doing that, and then we will be going for Egypt after that. And so we have swayed Russia. It did cost us an obligation, which is kind of significant. This war looks a little bit tough. I am a little bit concerned. We put Conquer Lebanon. We're not worried about Conquer Lebanon and war reparations in terms of enforcement, but we also put Liberate Bulgaria as a primary war goal, and so this one might be a little bit hard to enforce. We will see just how the AI decides to behave here. We will probably be just defending on the front, trying to land here, and hoping that they kind of wood chipper themselves, and then trying to land in Bulgaria. And we are hoping that, as far as strategic regions go, they generally will defend their capital strategic regions from landing, but not other places. And so we're hoping that they defend Anatolia. We can land here in northern Thrace to enforce on the Bulgaria one, and then we can land down here in Lebanon to enforce this other one. And by, starting to Balkanize the Ottomans, we will put ourselves in a good position to kind of pick up the pieces and have, this big sphere of influence here, not really messing with France and Austria too much at this point in time, and to some extent Spain, because these guys are going to be quite a lot stronger than us, at least in the short term. But eventually we will want to release Occitania and subjugate that, or do something to that effect, and also maybe do something similar to Austria. I mean, San Marco is going to eventually want to break free. We are researching nationalism, which I think helps us to move on that track towards San Marco becoming free, and maybe I haven't seen the journal entry too much, but maybe we can force that while they're having to fight Prussia in order to try and get that through. Well, this is looking pretty bad for the Ottomans. We did some cheeky landings looking to dodge their navy. We're microing around a little bit, but for the most part, Russia's doing a lot of the work here, and so it's not too bad for us. We are getting guys randomly unassigned from the fronts. Yuck. Or he's relocating to the front because the front moved, something like this. But we will be enforcing on them pretty quick here. They're taking pretty stiff decays, and so we will be releasing Bulgaria and then also getting that little bit of Lebanon. Lebanon also notably has some coal, which we do not have access to in terms of any place we can build, and so this is going to be pretty useful. We probably should have put in a little bit more infamy worth of war goals. Maybe we should have gone for Aleppo instead, but kind of liked getting the coal. The reason for going for Aleppo instead is because it would be a little bit more expensive on the infamy, something like this, while still giving us this adjacency to Egypt, which is going to be critical for pulling their armies over if we want to go after them, and that's probably what we're going to be doing. Oh, this is unfortunate. They're a major power now, so we can't subjugate them, just raw dogs. So that changes things a little bit. That is unfortunate, because now they are too big for us to be able to protectorate, which is what we had wanted to do, and so we are not going to be able to do that, obviously, and so that is unfortunate, but just a little bit more time on the, we can do that one, just a little bit more time, and we get this peace deal, which is going to be pretty nice for us. Bulgaria is free, which means we can just go after Bulgaria once we don't have a truce with them anymore, and so this is going to be a really nice target for us, while at the same time we will get access here in Lebanon. Unfortunately, they're emigrating out. That's sad. Big sad. We don't like that too much, but we will have an adjacency with, I mean, I guess we could just look to like take something like Sinai, or we could even release Syria maybe in terms of a war goal. We could liberate Syria, right? Liberate these two states, but we do want to take at least some infamy worth of stuff if we're going to go to war with them, because we should be sitting on 0 infamy right now, and so we'll have a little bit of a think and probably expand the construction sectors a lot, or a little, because it's been a hot minute since we've been able to do this, so that's going to feel pretty good. Nice to see the Emperor, aka King, intervening in the political process. I think we're going to do this because that's not exactly the best enactment chance, and so we're going to enable prop tax, which is going to give us, after this thing thinks for a second, quite a lot of money. So that's going to be really the come up we needed. We're going to go into construction sectors, we're going to sort by upkeep, and we're going to add a whole bunch. We're also going to add in Constantine with the knowledge that they have one of the best iron places in the entire game, and we're probably going to start building that up once turmoil dies down a little bit, and then we're also going to add one in the capital here. Those 5 should be pretty good. Now, since this is all government queue, this turns off our investment pool contribution entirely, and so this 17k isn't spooky though, because whenever you're evaluating how much money you're making, you often want to look at it from the perspective of your investment pool plus this other number, and so as soon as we're not on government construction anymore, we'll be in good shape. As far as expansion goes, we're kind of in a bit of a rough spot. We're trying to look for better spots. We went after, Bremen up here, or sorry, Hamburg, because the Roman Empire did in fact extend up here at its height, and this kind of just gives us a free strategic interest. We are hoping to be able to like push our strategic interests out a little bit more. We almost have all the areas under the Roman Empire with a strategic region. We kind of just need this one England interest, and then we will be able to organically interest out from this. Oh, we also need Danubia here. Then we'll be able to organically interest out, and then I will feel a lot more comfortable going for some other stuff that is going to be good for us. But I think we're going to sit on this 3.6 infamy we have for at least until it decays down. Portugal's probably not one we can go after anymore because they actually built up their army. Not to mention, Great Britain will 100% of the time help out Portugal because they're inside the customs union, and so this is going to be difficult for us because even if we could dodge their main fleet, even their like convoy raiding fleets will give us significant trouble, and so we probably are just going to continue to try and build up the navy, really try and eco up off the back of getting this prop tax through, and then see what we can do with nationalism, because if we integrate some of these guys, a couple of these guys through the event, then things change quite a bit here, and we might be able to, get something done. But we're hoping that 3.5 infamy tides us over until we can reduce autonomy in a couple places and just keep trying to be expanding in normal Roman areas while maintaining a non-zero infamy and dodging these great powers of France, Great Britain, and Austria. All right, so we get the whispers of the Risorgimento. I don't know how to pronounce this, but this is going to be nice for us. We will be able to... Italy must be restored from its oblivion is one of our options. We will not throw ourselves down to this is another one of our options. I actually don't know what we should do in terms of opposition or, I think we're supposed to... It must be restored, but we're not actually going to form Italy here. We're not planning on forming Italy because, as you can tell, no one was really a fan of forming Italy. So we're not going to form Italy. There's an achievement you get for going Rome and then forming Italy. We're not getting that achievement. We're going to be a little bit above that. But we do choose Italy must be restored from oblivion for the purposes of going to be able to, let's see. I think this just, so this radicalizes guys in Austria, and we will be able to integrate these guys a lot easier. We just won't actually ever form Italy, and so we're going to go down that route, and so that's going to help us out quite a bit here. Yeah. And then we became a unification candidate, and we might be receiving a little bit of support here. We're very close to we could even form Italy right now, but we're not going to do that because a lot of these guys are just supporting us anyways. But we are hoping that the event pops where we can, just annex these guys up because they're both in our customs union. They both love us. But I think we're going to conclude the episode here. This episode, we have really just kind of secured North Africa, I think. And I think this is what's significant of this episode. I don't think I can't remember if we had Morocco at the start, but we definitely did not have Tunis and Tripolitania, and so we've gotten all of North Africa here. We've subjugated Greece, and we've released Bulgaria, and so, things are coming along quite nicely. Once we get all of the Italian stuff in, then we will be able to maybe start to fight some of these GPs. Probably not. We're probably going to have to try and, pick up Bulgaria and, Wallachia and Serbia and maybe go after the GPs, specifically Austria, when they're fighting Prussia, something like this, where we can look to release and get, this portion of the Roman borders. But things are progressing along at a pace that is a little bit faster than I'd anticipated. We are hoping that these guys will decay, or once we acquire a lot of infamy and release Syria, I think that these guys can decay down. It was really lucky that Funj got released for us, although I suppose we could do this ourselves, and so this will help us to be able to, in the long term, go after Egypt. But anyways, let's take a look at that Roman market. It's going to be a big, nice one, and so hopefully we get that going. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully next episode will be turning red because we're still white. And if you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing, and have a good day.